Alright, hello, welcome back. This is really a continuation video on from the previous video. So if you've not seen the previous decode video on the 8/20 potential death date in iPet Goat 2, that decode, like I said, it's the previous one to this video. That is probably a must-see watch before watching this one. I am going to go back through some of that video just in case there are new people here and they're like, well, I'm not going to go back and watch that first. Okay, well, I'm gonna just go ahead and we'll just go back over it anyway for clarity's sake, a little bit, okay. But I don't want to waste a bunch of time on this because there's a whole bunch of stuff to do, and again, um, where do I start with this? So that previous video, okay, we were looking at this dude here, Eli Manning, okay. Now we were looking at it in relationship to the Black Madonna in iPet Goat. We'll go to that scene in just a second. Let's just note the name Eli, yeah. So L is God, Eli is my God, okay. So you could just call this God basically. And then we have also the man in here, yeah, the God man, yeah. The God man the true God man was Jesus Christ, okay. So what we have going on here, I believe, is a reference to the idea of Madonna, who is right now Madonna, the Queen of Pop, who has now become the corrupted Virgin Mary, okay. She's the black pearl, right? She's the matrix that we're stuck in. That reference, what we've got going on is this connection back with Eli Manning, that piece in iPet Go, and the idea of her dying in order to facilitate the resurrection of Christ, so to speak. This is all the sort of metaphor, symbolism that's in all this stuff, okay? So let's just go through some of that so we can be a bit clearer, and we will actually just discuss how we got to this point just briefly. Okay, so right here you can see this is the Black Madonna, okay, the Black Mary. This is the corrupted version of the Matrix. Well, yeah, the corrupted version of the Matrix. We could have a very good Matrix if we could stay balanced. But that's not what happens, okay? It pretty much always corrupts, and that's due to the nature of man. Anyway, don't want to get sidetracked. We've got the Lombardi Trophy, Super Bowl. If we go to Madonna's Super Bowl performance that she did a halftime show. What we're going to find is that Eli Manning was the MVP in that game, okay? Now, just before I get off this image, because we might not come back to it, I just want to, let's see if I think this drawer thing will come up. Oh dear, come on. See, surely you heard that click there. Oh, it's on. But okay. Let's look at the tiers here. Okay, the top set of tiers could be an E. This bottom set could be an L and an I. Okay, giving us Eli. I'm not sure if there's so many people that have decoded this. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody's picked Eli out of that before, or the 71331 set, because we're going to come on to that number in a minute, very shortly actually. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody's already done that. And don't forget that, of course, with Madonna and Elvis, okay, yeah, you have that L there again. In fact, you could potentially, yeah, okay, but you do have that L, you have this connection, okay, as well with Elvis, because we're going to look at the little connection there with Elvis as well. Okay, so I think that's enough on that little bit, but how did we get to connecting? Why is this connection so important? Okay, so let me show you some stuff that'll tie this together. If you're new and you didn't see that last video, Okay, the halftime show that she did, you'll notice that Madonna started the show off. She comes in on this sort of golden throne thing. She's climbing up on this throne. This throne is the Hoover Dam. Okay, and she's got this headdress on, looks a bit like a goat. So she looks like a bit of a goat climbing on the dam here. Now, they did this thing at the Hoover Dam where they shone up. Again, this is soccer now, but it's still football, okay? This is what we're dealing with. Okay, 1FC, okay? 1 point FC. This is Colne FC, okay? And if we convert the 1 point FC over, this is 1.63. Okay, 1.63. If we convert these letters over to numbers, notice the twin tower symbolism, because again, we're dealing with football players that are brothers. Okay, we're dealing with Peyton Manning, which I just talked about with Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne has the connection to ball. Okay, his name in the reverse alphabet is B-A-A-L. Paul Bale. Okay. So Ozzy had this connection with Peyton Manning, and now we're connecting back with Peyton Manning and Eli, the brothers. They're not twins, but there's the twinism idea going on. Okay, the Twin Towers, 9/11, all this good stuff. So anyway, they did this thing, okay, at the Hoover Dam. Let's not waffle on about it too much, but again, it's redone at the Super Bowl. Yeah, she's climbing up on here with the goat headdress, like a goat on a dam. Okay, now where I want to go. Let's do so at this game, at this particular game. Yeah, we went through all the scores, went through a whole bunch of stuff. We were, there was a whole bunch of stuff in here, but the MVP, Eli Manning. Okay, Eli Manning. So we looked at, I think actually it's on the end here. We looked at, I did his birthday. This is his birthday. Yeah, the 1-3, the 13 again, which is so prevalent with Madonna. Again, Desperately Seeking Susan. In fact, I don't know if I think it's either 31-31 or 13-13 when we're the room that we first see Madonna in. But anyway, getting sidetracked. The 13, M, okay, through to this 8/20 date that we've got pegged for Madonna to croak on is 163 day 6300. So it's got this 163 numerology right here. It's pretty easy to see and super duper interesting, yeah, because 163 was our number on that. Oh, where's it gone? 163 was this number right here, yeah. So this is extremely, extremely, extremely interesting. And what I forgot to mention in that last video, I did actually say, we should have put 163 in and seen what it came out at. What the if there was anything interesting about it on the number properties. 163 comes out at the 38th prime. Now, okay, alarm bells are ringing, because in funeral rites, this latest thing by one of the latest things, it's actually not the latest thing she's done, but this funeral rites thing, okay, we had this reference to football right here. There was a whole bunch of references to football. We had the Diogo Jota thing with his. We decoded this out with his wedding. This whole thing with her treading on this thing is a reference to the glass breaking at a wedding. The metaphysical is the glass, is the ball, even is the football reference right here. This is the foot. Okay, notice what is almost on the ball of the foot here is the 38. Oh dear. So this is all tied back in with the weddings, the white wedding, and the idea of football. Okay, and football Well, if you've seen some of my recent decodes, I explain it all. I haven't got time to. We don't want to just. I got too much right here. There's only these bits and pieces, but this is going to take a little while. Okay, so super interesting, right? Where do I want to go now? So anyway, so while I was looking at Eli, this film popped up. Okay, and I feel like somebody's had this in a decode before. Okay, I feel like I've watched it on somebody's decode. I apologize, I can't remember who it was. Because you'd like to give the credit out to where you might have seen this before. But anyway, if you're, most of you guys watching this are avid decoders anyway. You can see straight away this is 173. Okay, and even in here, if you come down, I guess this is put in here so that people that aren't really decoders can see this as well. That Eli, the word lie is in there, and that 317. Okay, and so this whole thing ties back to St. Patrick and maybe even Donald Trump's ear wound, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, the 173 ties back to, and we're going to look at Elvis as well. Anyway, I saw the release date of this film and the runtime, and I was like, straight away, I'm like, I'm going to have to do some number jumps here because the release date is October the 18th. Now, remember, I'm not going to write on here, but October the 10th month, Eli Manning wears the shirt 10. Yeah, we even connected the number 10 back to the idea of football. Okay. Because obviously the ball is the metaphysical, the round circle, and then the foot becomes the phallic symbolism of the number 1. Okay, and so you have the number 10 encoded in football. But so he wears the number 10, and Payton wears 18. So yeah, are we getting this now? So we've got the brothers encoded in here. And then, of course, we've got the Queen's death date. Okay. And there's other people that there's other celebrities. The only one I can think off the top of my head actually is Whitney Houston as well. She was a 9/8, and they did the bath ritual with her, which is the Hoover Dam. Lake Mead is the bathtub. Yeah, it has the bathtub ring around it, the white ring with the blue water. Yeah, they call that the bathtub ring. So you see a lot of celebrities doing the death in the bathtub stuff. Anyway, let's do some number jumps for this. Oh dear, and we'll keep making the little connections here with Eli. Now, before I get off of it and forget about it, because I was thinking, well, where have I seen this before? I'm pretty certain, even if it wasn't this particular, it probably wasn't this film, but I've probably heard Jurassic Liars talking about the Eli and the 173, because of course he does a lot of stuff on Elvis, and so we'll come back onto Elvis again in a minute as well, because this is super important with Elvis, with the L at the start of the name. And the other person I thought of was Zenith of the Alpha. He's got a lot of stuff with like flipping numbers and that kind of thing. So I did go and check his channel, and sure enough, he has stuff on. There's more videos than this on Eli and God. Okay, and I just stopped it in this particular video just because there was some. He shows the connections with the gematria with these two. They are super loadedly connected. These are like Rambo super matches. Yeah. So this is super important, and that's Eli just with the name God. Okay, so this is again this reference back to the God Man, the God Manning, Jesus with Eli Manning. Okay, the God Man. Okay, God incarnate. Okay, right. So go check his channel out, Zenith of the Alpha America. Okay, yeah, check him out. So let's do a number jump now. Let's do a number jump, a fresh number jump. So in keeping with the idea of Elvis, I thought, well, we better just check and see if there's anything interesting that connects back with Elvis. Um, and sure enough, put Elvis's birthday in, go through to Peyton Manning's birthday, and lo and behold, we got this palindromic number with the 15 in there, the 51. Again, remember, we got 9-1 coming up. 9-1, St. Giles's Day, Labour Day, this date that could potentially be the start of World War III, the Hoover Dam going down, could be that false flag, if you like. What I'm thinking, 5-1 is May Day, okay, and May Day is the twin date of 9-1, okay. So all these May Day references we see could actually be tying us back in with the idea of 9-1. And then again, of course, I always like the 105-day jump through from 9/11 to Christmas, okay. So again, super loaded number. Now, click it or tick it on this one. I can't remember if there was something interesting here. I'm pretty sure it was interesting, though. This was it. Yeah. It was the 1/73rd triangular. Okay, the 1/73rd triangular. So we have the same numerology as the name Eli, coming out here. I just thought that was, in the triangular format, super duper interesting. Okay, so that was one thing, and in fact, it's almost, if you read it backwards, it's ELI, so that's pretty good as well. So it's not completely jumbled like Donald Trump's date for his ear wound, 13/7. That's a little jumbled up. Anyway, right, let's move on. So anyway, so we've got that connecting back with Elvis, with Peyton Manning, and then we've got Eli in the numbers popping out. Okay. This one, right, let me show you something, because I'm like, okay, with that film, I didn't really want to do a ton of number jumps, but of course I'm like, I'll just do the first person on the list here, and we've got a Kelly popping up again, which is kind of interesting. With the Kelly McDonald thing with Trainspotting, which was so big. And she's got a 187 number. We're going to see another 187 number pop up with this. And the 187 number, also don't forget that Washington's gematria is a 187. Madonna also with the first husband, Sean Penn. His birthday is the 17th of August. So you can get kind of the numerology or whatever showing up, fairly close. Anyway, her number. Let's just do this. Oh, hang on a minute. Did we do this one already? No, we didn't do this one. This is the release of the film. We'll do this one in just a second. Where's her birthday? Right here. So this is her birthday through to Madonna's birthday. Click it or tick it. Okay, it's kind of an interesting looking number anyway. And then here, lo and behold, we've got the 8-9 numerology popping up. Yeah, the death date of the Queen. Okay. So anyway, let's pop back to this one now. No, not this one. What was I just on? Hang on a minute. What was we just seeing? This one. This was the release of the film. Okay, through to this potential death date for Madonna again. Okay. Note the 213 there. I don't think there was anything too interesting. Oh yeah, this is kind of interesting. Because if you do this, okay, so just remember 213, we can just reduce these double three down to a single three. 213 is the beginning of Lucas numbers. Okay. Note what is coming up here. The 1118. Now, if you recall that that last decode, I mentioned that this is, this decoding chart, right? Notice that we just look at this middle row here. For new people, don't get too, overwhelmed. 213 is the start of Lucas numbers. This is an actual set of numbers that you can go and look up on Google, just putting Lucas numbers, and this will come up. Yeah, the Lucas sequence. Just like it's very similar to Fibonacci, okay, which is above here. 213 is the start of that. This point here, this 1118, is our midpoint. Right here is our midpoint. Our midpoint is really this 29, okay? So everything with this white, all the references to the white wedding at the minute, super interesting. Now remember, the day after 9/1 will be 2/9, okay, 29, okay. So the idea of a reset on 9/1 going into 2/9, sort of midnight hour stuff, is super duper interesting. Also, just while we're in the chart, you will notice that the 713 is part of that column as well, okay, and also 713 shows up down here as well, and I've talked about that before in reference to a square that's in here and all the rest of it. But I don't want to get too confused today, okay, on this, right? But this is the middle of the table, and all these numbers, most of these numbers in here are referencing what they are referencing is the golden ratio, 1.618. So the way you get the golden ratio out of these numbers is you take 1 and divide the previous number. So if we do 18 divided by 11 right now, 18 divided by 11, it gives us 1.63. And it's 1.63 reoccurring, so it's 1.6363636363 on forever, okay? That is our middle number in here. The same number that is being shone up on the Hoover Dam there. The same ritual that she's doing, climbing on the golden throne there. The same as the number jump there from Eli Manning through to this 820 date, okay? So this is just absolutely mind-blowing. Anyway, that's interesting. Blimmin' hell, come on down, because we have to explain every number here. And you can do this, and so that is the next number on in the sequence. Yeah, 2, 1, 3, 4, 7, 11, 18, 29, yeah, 47, on and on and on, okay? So this is just absolutely mental. What else do we have? And the film, and again in the thing, in the Wikipedia, or in the film, it's saying in the film they are kind of decoding that name out, which is just, they're telling you to decode that. What's this one? This is the death of Elvis through to Eli, through to Eli's birthday. It doesn't look super duper interesting on the surface, and you can get some bits and pieces out of here. They've got the pie at the top of here, but let's just click it or ticket. Come on. Now it becomes more interesting. The 203. Okay, there's some other stuff in here like this composite 1470. So the 147 that we've had come up a lot as well, in connection basically with the 47 of silver. Yeah, you remember we did all the these two clubs. We just did the Silver brothers as well, that are football players. Yeah, they're soccer players, but they're football players, and we connected them in with this as well. And also we did a previous decode on those two guys as well that died in the Lamborghini car crash. Okay, so we tied in Liverpool and whatever this other one is. Whatever this other club is. But here's a 203. Watch this. Okay, doesn't look super duper interesting on the surface when you look at the 203, but this is what is so important about it. It's not prime, but what's stopping it being prime is these two numbers right here. Okay, now this is well interesting. The 729, the white wedding in here with the 203, super duper important. That is just mental. I don't know many other people that like do decodes like this, but anyway, hopefully that's making sense to people. It isn't like, oh boy, this guy is just reaching way too far, you know. Anyway, so what else was there? There's another film that actually Zenith of the Alpha was mentioning, and it is the Book of Eli. Okay, as you know, as soon as I saw this release date, January the 15th, the 15 coming up again, yeah, the 15th day of the year. So this is a 15 reference or a 115 reference. Um, and then and then we got the 118. I'm just like, you can't write this stuff. That's the same numerology as the other film, yeah, except they did the 18th of October, so there's a 0 in there, but same numerology, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, and of course, don't forget that Madonna's son Rocco has this birthday, and we just had Hulk Hogan, yeah. Potentially, if Madonna dies on 8/20, her numbers for the number jump from her birthday through to that date will be 24477. Now Hulk Hogan dies on 247, okay, and Hulk Hogan's 47th birthday was when Rocco Ritchie was born. Rocco Ritchie, okay, the son of Madonna, the actual real son of Madonna. I mean, it's just, you know, and I mean, of course, you can look through all this as well. It's just, you know, and of course, we've got the Washington in here. Yeah, Denzel Washington. The Washington reference to the dollar bill. All of these numbers are on the dollar bill. Yeah, well, most of them. Okay. Most of these numbers are on the dollar bill. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, we've covered everything, haven't we? I just thought this was just mental when I saw this with the 163 being the 38th prime, and then tying us back to that blooming foot in funeral rites. I was just like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is looking more and more likely that this could be a ritual that happens. Because you know what, I've had several dates for Madonna in the past, and I've had little bits and pieces dates that just don't have, you know, they have some interesting stuff. You know, you see half a dozen things, but I've never had a decode. I mean, I think I've had maybe one or two other decodes that have been pretty heavy, and I got all, you know, oh, this actually might happen. This one, again, I'm kind of like, this actually might happen, for real, you know. Um, the death and the resurrection. Yeah, this was the end of the the halftime at the halftime show. Yeah, and you know, this was our tie back with those other two footballers, with those teams, with the phoenixes on the logos. Yeah. So what have I missed out of here? Um, I don't think there's really. I think I've done everything, haven't I? Yeah. Yeah, that's everything. Look at that with the 611, 911 in there. The 69 as well with um, Michael J. Fox's birthday. Number 11. Oh my goodness. You know, I mean, you know, certain numbers, even though they don't on the surface are not really, you think, okay, well, it's not really anything too major. But when you start seeing, you know, buried within the number, other bits and pieces, again, it's just fascinating. I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully everybody saw the other decode on that, because yeah, super duper interesting. Go check out Zenith the Alpha. He's got a lot on this sort of Eli stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you on another one soon. All right, cheers, bye.